Hey, it's Shark Week on Discovery Channel, and Paul Gelder is joining us promoting Shark Week. Hey, Paul, good morning. Thanks for coming on, man.
Good morning, mate. It's my pleasure.
Oh, it's already, obvious that you're Australian because of the accent, but you had to throw in mate.
Yeah.
Do y'all really say that, like, to each other, or is that just what you do to, like, non-Australians?
No, we literally use it every single day, pretty much all day.
It's not just the accent either. It's that thing you heard there. You got it all.
Man,
you got it all.
It's just
Paul.
not fair.
So he's Australian Defense Forces Army Airborne, Navy bomb disposal diver. And then tell us what happened to you in the water and why it has to do with sharks.
So I was conducting a counter-terrorism training exercise in Sydney Harbour. And I was in the water right next to the Navy base, on the surface, on my back, in a black wetsuit and a pair of black fins, and a 10-foot bull shark attacked me. It grabbed me by my right leg and my right hand in the same bite, and decided it wanted them more than I did, which I thought was pretty unfair. Tried to kill me, ripped out my hamstring, ripped off my hand, and I managed to swim back to my safety boat with one hand and one leg through a pool of my own blood, where my teammates were waiting to render first aid until the paramedics got there and whisked me off to emergency surgery.
Wow. I mean, you think about it, like you should have died. I mean, having that much of a blood loss,
a lot of blood loss.
Arm and a leg?
Yeah, the surgeon said that if my teammate hadn't stuck his finger inside my leg and pinched closed the artery with his fingers, I would have bled out and died within 30 seconds.
Wow. You know, that's very, man, that's scary. I have a buddy who's a Navy diver for the U.S., and literally he says when they're out doing their dives at night especially, because you can't see anything in the water, as you would know, Paul, he says something bumps into you, you know what it is, but you say, that didn't happen. And and so, like,
100% correct. It definitely wasn't a shark. That was just a log or something.
That's right. We're talking to Paul Gelder, promoting Shark Week on Discovery Channel.
Yes, Shark Week,
we'll
Shark
come
Week.
back. Talk more with Paul on the way. Hang on. Hey, Paul Gelder is joining us. He is Australian Defense Forces. Was survived an attack from a shark, lost his arm and his leg, and so now, what are you doing now, Paul? Are you speaking engagements?
Are you one of those
touring?
pro shark people or anti shark people?
Yeah, look, it's so crazy. My biggest fears in life were sharks and public speaking, and now I'm literally a shark diving public speaker.
Right. God knows more than we do, I guess.
I was watching Shark Week last night, and they were doing this thing where they were testing, like, what makes sharks attack? Mm-hmm. And they're doing all the things. They're like, oh, this is a red flag. This is a red flag. And they're, like, towing some lady behind on a surfboard. And the sharks are coming up and hitting the surfboard. I'm like, what is she doing? You have a real human on this thing, and you're using people as bait. I'm like, Shark Week has just gone off the chain.
I love it.
Yeah, we do some pretty wild stuff. One of my shows this year, I was freediving with sharks, which means I was on breath hold, not on scuba. I was freediving with sharks 300 feet away from an active underwater volcano while it was erupting.
I watched that.
You
I watched
saw that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Was that Sharkcano?
Yeah, the real Sharkano be airing later in the week.
Yes. That's nuts, man.
So if people are going to be, at the beach, vacations or whatever, give us a couple of things that they need to definitely not do to keep away from sharks.
Don't get in the water.
Well, that is a surefire way to not get attacked by a shark. Don't go in. But I would never recommend that because the ocean is such a magical place. It makes you feel so good. But, we like to think of ourselves as the most intelligent species on the planet. We got these big brains. We know how to use tools. So let's use the tools at our disposal to stay safe. We got the internet. We got Google. If you're going to a beach, do a little Google and find out if there's been any sharks sighted in the area. If there has, then maybe just stay out of that place or go to another one. If there hasn't, then you're good to go usually. Mm-hmm. So, you don't get into your car and then not put on your seatbelt and drink a quart of vodka and then disobey the road rules. You do all the things that are safe to keep you and your family and everyone else safe. So entering a wild place like the ocean should be exactly the same.
You know, I had somebody tell me the other day, they're like, yeah, well, you know, sharks, they were shark apologists. And they're like, sharks they don't want to bite you and this and that, and they'll leave you alone and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, until they don't want to, though. Mm-hmm. I mean, you never know. All it takes is that split second. And I mean, I'm somebody who spends a lot of time in the water also. But, you know, you don't have a choice. When that shark says, okay, it's time, it's time.
Well, if that were true, then me and all of my Shark Week friends wouldn't be alive today, would we?
Oh, I like that.
If that were true, you would still have your hand and leg.
I don't know.
I mean, dude, that's
yeah,
so...
but look, I chose a dangerous life, right? I'm jumping out of planes in the middle of the night with a big machine gun. I'm blowing stuff up underwater. I rode a big black Italian sports bike. Any one of a million things could have killed me. And at least this way, I got a cool story, and I get to work on Shark Week.
That's true. Okay, you know what? Paul Gelder just put me in my place.
Paul, all the best to you, man. Speaking of Google, you can Google up Paul Gelder, get all the information on him. And don't forget Shark Week. It's on Discovery Channel now.
And I'm glued constantly. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
My pleasure, guys.
See you, man. Well, because over the years, teenage kids have told you to like and subscribe, we don't have to say that anymore.
You know what to do.